Hey, it's Sam. Welcome to BNS About Movies. I have a confession. I did the first two Horror Gives Back. The third one, I deleted it while I was working on it. And I got so mad. I'm like, I'm never going to finish that. And I think I owe it to my OCD to do it. And by do it, I mean finish. So we're going to start with day 21. Buckle up. Whew. A lot of movies here. Up first, the theme was the 60s. That would be Mars Needs Women.
Colonel, the message is Mars needs women.
These were the words that startled the world. This was the reason for an invasion that shocked the Earth. Martians, beings from outer space, with one prime objective. Women, Earth women, to help repopulate their dying planet, to bring new blood to an ancient civilization. Beauty and the Beasts. Only the beasts were men. Martian men. Every woman checked and double-checked. Only the most perfect, the most beautiful. Is Earth to be ravished because Mars needs women?
From 1968, Larry Buchanan making low-budget TV movies for AIP. He called him with this idea. He said, we get a signal from outer space. What is it? Nicholson said, what is it? And he said, Mars needs women. And they said, when can you start? As for Tommy Kirk, he had been a Disney kid when he got the lead when John Ashley was busy, probably having sex with some scientist's blonde wife. He wanted this to be his comeback. After all, he knew the role. He'd already been a Martian, seeking Earth women in AIP's pajama party. Buchanan even allowed Kirk to create his own soliloquy in the film, which was pretty great. However, he looked back and said, this is undoubtedly one of the stupidest motion pictures ever made. How I got talked into it, I don't know. Mars needs women is the message from space, because Mars can only make boy babies. So 5 of their race, led by Dop, Kirk, come to Earth to steal our most perfect women, who were all from Texas. I mean, there wasn't much of a budget for Larry Buchanan. The women are an artist, Pat Delaney, a housewife, Sherry Roberts, an air hostess, literally an air hostess in the 60s, Donna Lindbergh.
You're so beautiful. Well, you could be a waitress. You could be an air hostess in the 60s. You're so beautiful. Well, you could be a part-time model.
A stripper, Bubbles Cash, inspiration for the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. She's also in Hot Thrills and Warm Chills. And according to a fan, would sign her autograph where the B in Bubbles was a pair of breasts with nipples, her last name, $. Scientist Marjorie Boland, Yvonne Craig, who Dot falls in love with, and of course, he does. It's Yvonne Craig in 1968. Shot in black and white on a 16mm, blown up to 35 and filled with stock footage. This was shot all over Dallas, which was playing Houston in the movie. I feel like someday sad I'm going to run out of Larry Buchanan movies, but today is not that day. Today is a good day. That brings us to movies from South America for October 22nd, and that would be History of the Occult. Historia de lo Oculto is the first movie by director and writer Christian Ponce. It's supposed to be the final episode of a 1980s 60-minute stop program called 60 Minutes Before Midnight, and the story of how a conspiracy connects the government to a mysterious corporation that practices black magic. The show's already been canceled after trying to expose their president's economic policies, corruption, and, yes, ties to the occult. For the last time, host Alfredo brings together Senator Matias Linares, sociologist Danielle Aguilar, and Adrian Mercado, the vice president and co-founder of Kingdom Corporate, Argentina's largest corporation. Oh, yeah, he's also a warlock if you didn't guess from his last name. 2 of the 3 have had their names appear in a notebook found a ritual murder. The rest of the show's journalists are hiding in a safe room, waiting for the rally against the president to begin. But while they wait, they've been sent 4 doses of hallucinogenic tannis root, of course, by Von Merken's lab, Velasquez Corporation, and the only company that would sponsor the show. Don't ever take tannis root or be part of a ritual that exposes conspiracies. The truth, Mercado was cast out of his coven and made a deal with the journalist to expose Velasco in return for an artifact he needs. When everyone wakes up from the ritual that has them seeing demonic creatures, Lucio is missing, Abel's dead, and a crazed Maria claims that he was a warlock who was trying to kill them. For some reason, when people ask how many children others have, they can't figure it out because they've all been pushed into alternate realities. Also, Kingdom Corporate is a coven of warlocks who made a deal with beings from another world and use that power to take over Argentina. Obviously, there's a lot of Rosemary's Baby here. While the film also has a modern cell phone as an occult icon in 1987, Argentine politics being explored, it's really dense, and I say that in a significant and positive way. Nothing ever really happens, which is my favorite kind of movie, despite setting it up, but it works hard to get there. A series episode next. 2 different series episodes. I'm really lucky to have some folks help out here. Adam Hursey helped with Guardian of the Abyss from Hammer House, and I think Samantha Egger, the ghost of Samantha Egger, would be the perfect person to read this.
Don't you know you must never give a black magician bread or wine or salt in your own home? Say what now? Is this common knowledge? I've never heard of such. Of course, I immediately went to Google for answers. Even their AI was no help in determining where this proclamation may have originated. Perhaps it is just from the mind of David Fisher, a writer on Doctor Who, during the years of the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker, and our scribe here in this instalment of Hammer House of Horror. This anthology series was created by Roy Skeggs, a man who climbed the Hammer Films corporate ladder, eventually becoming chairman. Unfortunately, Hammer had hit upon hard times by the late 1970s, particularly after the departure of Tony Hines in 1969. The company was unable to keep up with the gore and graphic violence displayed in many of the American films of the 70s, putting their hopes on an increase in sexual content to bring in audiences. As the films of the 70s tried to bring in modern sensibilities to their typical Gothic tales, most viewers found the entire Hammer endeavour to border in self-parody rather than interesting storytelling. When Skeggs took over, he shifted the focus of Hammer Films away from producing films using their stable of familiar monsters and characters and toward television, creating the 13-episode series Hammer House of Horror. Each installment ran close to an hour in length, featuring different sorts of horror, and typically ending with a plot twist. Guardian of the Abyss follows the basic template. Laura, Barbara Ewing, is the winner of an auction for an interesting mirror. When a stranger seems very interested in purchasing the mirror from her, her friend Michael, Ray Lonan, suggests that she have the mirror appraised to determine its true value. Unbeknownst to Michael and Laura, the mirror is a scrying glass that, if it falls into the wrong or right hands, could be used to summon the demon Choronzon. Michael crosses paths with a woman named Alison, Rosalind Landor, most likely known from her role in Hammer's The Devil Rides Out, who says she has escaped from a cult. But could she be the key to the entire mystery behind the mirror? Guardian of the Abyss is the 4th segment I've watched so far in this series. They are all very enjoyable for what they are. Nothing terribly deep. Again, you typically get a twist ending that sticks the landing. A nice, quick watch for this time of year. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of these over time. I'm always happy to plug one in this slot every year during this challenge.
Thank you, Samantha. Up next, well, it's my read here. Coughing up all that phlegm. Things That Go Creep in the Night from Chips Season 6, Episode 21. When Anna Kelly Preston gets into a hot tar accident on the highway, Pawn Erica Shardoff suspects there's more to it than meets the eye. The plot thickens when she's found holding a cover to a C-Thing comic book. The biggest comic book around is Officer Bruce. Bruce Penhall explains. Whatever happened to Tom and Jerry? Asks Ponch. Someone steals a car, and when they go to arrest him, Ponch and Bruce find Anna's wallet. Anna's staying with her friend Kathy, the creator of C-Thing. Someone steals a car, and when they arrest him, Ponch and Bruce find Anna's wallet. Anna's staying with her friend Kathy, but the creator of C-Thing, Stanley Woods, is stalking her. He also seems to live in Forrest Ackerman's house. So maybe he's a pervert hitting on teenage girls just like Uncle Forey. Actually, he's in the Malibu Castle, or Castle Cash-In, which was built by a local doctor in the 70s and belonged to Princess Lily Lawrence. It burned down in the 2007 Malibu fires, but was rebuilt. Anna somehow has a unique, different cover than the real published book, which we find out from the owner of a comic book store who is Elvira. Yes, in the world of Chips, Elvira owns a comic book store.
Ponch, I didn't think you read comic books.
I don't come here to read comic books. Elvira? Hi.
Well, it's about time, Ponch. We could use some new blood.
This is my new partner, Bruce Nelson.
Hello.
Oh, say, you're cute.
Thank you. You're different.
I like him, Ponch.
The real story unfolds when it's revealed that Anna's mom is the creator of C-Thing, and a real C-Thing attacks Punch. The unexpected twist, Rich Little is a hologram and in drag. The supernatural episode of Chips is just one of many surprises, including Trick or Treat from Season 2, Rock Devil Rock from Season 6, Robert Pine, leader of the CHP, Sergeant Joseph Gridhair, directed this episode. It was written by Rick Rosner, Barry Jacobs, and Stuart Jacobs. I love that Elvira could just randomly show up on a TV show in the 80s, a magical time.
Well, okay, in that case, Elvira, meet Frank Poncherella and Bobby Nelson.
So this is Ponch. Well, Harlan's told me you dance like a dream.
He did? You did?
Not in those words. I'll see you guys at the party, huh?
Yeah.
And, don't disappoint me, darling. I'm expecting a tango.
I also have a weakness for Chips. Watching it now, it all seems so silly with characters wearing sauna suits to lose weight and Ponch investigating monsters. I mean, Royal Dano is the coroner in this episode. The 24th is Ingrid Pitt Day. Well, so many movies to pick. I picked Chimes at Midnight from 65. We all know Ingrid Pitt's Queen of the Vampires. She's also in movies like Dr. Zhivago and The Wicker Man in uncredited roles. But we know her from Sound of Horror, The Vampire Lovers, Countess Dracula, and The House that Dripped Blood. As for Orson Welles, the mastermind behind this movie, his dedication to storytelling was evident from a young age. His passion for the story dates back to his days at the Todd Seminary for Boys in Woodstock, Illinois. Despite facing budget constraints, he did a 3.5-hour remix of several of Shakespeare's history plays in which he played Richard III, and he struggled his whole life to bring his vision to life. In 1939, he played in Five Kings, a Mercury Theater play that would have 46 scenes and run for 5 hours. Instead of attending rehearsals or finishing the play, which combined Henry IV, Part 1 and 2, and Henry V, Wells and co-star Burgess Meredith got drunk, played in a few cities, but it was such a disaster it cost the Mercury Theater its contract with the Theater Guild. By 1960, this has evolved into Chimes at Midnight, a film directed by Hilton Edwards, sure, but really a product of Wells. He saw it as a rehearsal for a movie, a canvas on which you could experiment, bring his ideas to life. His focus was not on the traditional aspects of filmmaking like learning lines or attending rehearsals, but on creating a unique cinematic experience. 4 years later, Wells decided to make this movie again with Spanish film producer Emiliano Piedra. He would produce a film with a promise that would be made at the same time as Treasure Island. Orson Welles, king of the carnies, no intention of making that. He did have $800,000, a cast of stars, and a schedule that probably didn't allow a lot of these actors to be in the same scene. He remarked that this was his favorite movie, saying, Wells remarked this was his favorite movie, saying, if I wanted to get into heaven on the basis of one movie, then this is the one I would offer up. I think it's, because of me, the least flawed. Let me put it that way. It is the one most successful what I tried to do. I succeeded more completely, in my view, with that than anything else. Falstaff is played by Wells. He and Justice Shallow start the film walking in the snow, reflecting on the past and discussing how King Henry IV murdered Richard II and imprisoned Edward Mortimer, the true ruler. As for Prince Hal, another potential ruler, he spends all his time drinking and sleeping around. Falstaff is teaching him how to live life to the fullest. Hal eventually becomes King Henry V. He distances himself from Falstaff, who dies of a broken heart, as the boy he led in crimes and schemes goes on to reject those lessons and become a noble king. Jess Franco was the assistant director on this film and heavily involved in the Battle of Shrewsbury sequence. He fought with Wells, so he isn't in the credits. He told Horror Garage the production of Chimes at Midnight was a total mess, not because the film was too expensive, but because Orson lied about the budget and the film was 10 times more expensive. You can imagine what a disaster, but it's gorgeous. I think Wells is Falstaff. Both men were always looking for money, outright lied to people, and yet were always able to drink and eat. So, Chimes at Midnight, a little fancy. The next day was Haunted House, and that leads to 2 movies. Sweet Home is the first, and Sweet Home was written by Adam Hursey again.
Hey, Sam, your pal Robert Evans here. Going to read some stuff by Adam for you. I have a confession. I have never seen a film by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. I have no excuse. I own a couple of them. Most are available on various streaming services. Maybe I just have a slight aversion to J-horror. These Japanese films do not tend to grab me the way the more Western films do for whatever reason. Hausu, Ringu, Noroi, The Curse, Audition, Battle Royale. I've seen all of them, and I found them to be good to pretty good. I definitely will not be accused of being hyperbolic in my praise for any of these films. So many other people whose opinion I respect seem to love these movies much more than I do. I always just feel like I'm missing something, or maybe an aspect or style of filmmaking is keeping me at arm's length. Going back to the well, Ringu joke maybe, for my haunted house pick, Kurosawa's Sweet Home. I may as well start near the beginning with his filmography if I'm going to dive in. Bottom line up front, there is a lot I like about this movie, but yet again, I did not love it like I had hoped. Mainly the film is too long. 15, 20, 30 minutes lees, and I would have been really praising it a bit more. But still, there's plenty here to praise, and I think I might like it more on a second viewing. And if some nice boutique label wanted to give it a restoration and release, I would definitely pick it up on day one. Sweet Home follows a fairly familiar template as far as haunted house movies go. There is an abandoned house, of course. This house belonged to an artist. Legend has it that there is a fresco on one of the walls of the house that has not been seen or recorded. Enter a television crew who wants to go into the house and document the discovery and restoration of the fresco. Unfortunately for them, but fortunately for us, the group gets more than they bargained for when they discover that the legend of the ghost of the house is true. Lady Mamiya, the matriarch of the family, haunts the home, still distraught over the loss of her baby who died in the home's furnace. No one is safe from her hysterical insanity. It is fairly difficult to not think about Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist while watching Sweet Home. Children in peril, the lore of outsiders disturbing the area. Early visual effects mixed with some fantastic practical ones. There is a lot to like in this film for sure. Again, it's just too long. And the VHS rip I watched on YouTube did not do it any favors. I later discovered a better version on YouTube, so maybe watch that one if you want to check it out. I think every review I read mentioned how a video game was based on this movie, which then became the basis of Resident Evil. So I guess I need to add this blurb here too. I did love those first couple Resident Evil games, but I never thought about them while watching Sweet Home. I'm going to keep pushing through J-horror, though. I feel like I'm getting closer to unlocking the magic. Hey, Sammy. Taking a break from these reviews, so you mind if I riff for a bit? Go catch a smoke while your pal Evans lays down some truth. Picture this. Tokyo, 1978. I was riding high. Black Sunday had just hit, and the town was buzzing. I walked into the Paramount commissary and said, "Boys, forget the mob. Forget the detectives. I want the lizard. Not just any lizard. The big G. Godzilla." I flew the Gulf Stream to Japan. I had a vision. Godzilla meets Network. An angry beast, mad as hell, screaming at the skyscrapers about the decline of the human spirit. It was going to be huge. It was going to be an Oscar contender. It was going to be Evans. But the Toho executives? They were stiffer than a starched collar on Sunday morning. They didn't get the vision. They wanted rubber suits and miniature tanks. I wanted method acting. I wanted soul. I stormed out of the boardroom, tie loose, sweat dripping down my back like a leaky faucet. I wandered onto Soundstage 4, and that's when I saw him. Sitting on a folding chair, looking like a gargoyle who just lost his pension. Baragon. He wasn't the star. He was the heavy. The guy who gets his ass kicked in the second act. But he had a look in his eyes. Those giant, bulbous plastic eyes that screamed pathos. He was holding a cigarette the size of a baguette. I walked up to him. I said, "Kid, you look like you're carrying the weight of the world on those floppy ears." He let out a roar. A low, guttural sound that rattled the fillings in my teeth. It was a cry for help. I reached into my pocket. I pulled out a little glass vial. Pure Bolivian shale. The kind of stuff that could wake the dead and make them dance the jitterbug. I looked at Baragon. I said, "You want to touch the sky, kid?" Let me tell you something about kaiju physiology. It's a mystery. But when you introduce a prehistoric burrowing dinosaur to the finest powder 1970s Hollywood could procure, magic happens. Dark magic. He didn't snort it. He inhaled the room. Suddenly, the depression was gone. Baragon was up. He was vibrant. He was glowing. Literally, his horns started glowing. He looked at me, and I understood him perfectly. We didn't need subtitles. We spoke the international language of excess. We hit the Ginza Strip. Me in my tinted glasses, him stomping 3 feet behind me, crushing compact cars like soda cans. We weren't just tourists. We were gods. We ended up in a penthouse at the Imperial Hotel. I'm on the phone with Kissinger trying to smooth over international relations. Barragan is in the background, heat beaming the minibar. He wanted to burrow. It's what he does. It's his instinct. He started digging through the shag carpet, straight through the concrete, down into the lobby. The dust was flying. The white powder was flying. It was a blizzard in there, a blizzard of ambition. I looked down the hole he made. He looked back up at me, eyes wide, pupils dilated to the size of dinner plates. He roared. It sounded like triumph. It sounded like, Evans, we're going to live forever. The next morning, the Toho brass came in. The room looked like it had been hit by a giant monster. They banned me from the lot. They banned me from the prefecture. They sent Barragan to Monster Island for rehab. The movie never happened. They made The Return of Godzilla 5 years later, and it was stiff. It had no heart. But sometimes, late at night, when the Santa Ana winds are blowing through the canyons and the pool lights are flickering, I think about that night. Me and the Beast. Two misunderstood giants, high on life and premium Andean dust, digging for gold and maybe no small amount of meaning in the floorboards of the Imperial Hotel. The picture died, but the memory? I just shared it with you.
There are ghosts around us all the time. Most of them, they can't hurt us. Most of them don't even want to hurt us. But there are exceptions.
Is it bad tonight?
Oh, bad? It's my professional opinion. We should get the hell out of here. Now.
I represent the estate of your Uncle Cyrus.
We have an Uncle Cyrus?
Cyrus recorded this message 6 weeks ago. He asked it to be played for you in the event of his death.
Arthur, I've instructed my lawyer to deliver my last will and testament.
A key?
A key to what?
A key to your new house. This house is the fruit of my life's work.
Oh my God.
It is a one-of-a-kind home.
It's marvelous, isn't it?
Wow!
Arthur, we've got some papers to sign in the library. After that, I would love to take you and the family around a tour of the house.
This place is awesome!
All right, now I know I'm dreaming.
Well, your uncle was quite a collector of many things.
What the hell was that?
This Halloween.
You're wasting your time. It's all sealed up.
The only thing worse than being trapped in a house with a ghost.
This house is not a house. We're in the middle of a machine. Powered by the dead.
Is being trapped in a house with 13 ghosts.
Maggie! What? We got company. Where? I can't see. How close is it? Close enough to hurt you. Go, go, go! Can I rely on you not to get me killed?
I guarantee nothing.
13 Ghosts was my pick, a remake of William Castle's 13 Ghosts. I have a soft spot in my heart for this movie, despite it being a big-budget horror movie made in the last 20 years. It starts with ghost hunter Cyrus Kritikos, F. Murray Abraham, and his assistant Dennis Ravkin, Matthew Lord, trying to capture a ghost in a junkyard. Not everyone is killed. If the ghost is taken, Cyrus's nephew Arthur, played by Tony Shalhoub, sold his inherited his uncle's mansion, so he takes his kids there, Kathy, Shannon, Elizabeth, and Bobby, Alec Roberts, and their nanny, Maggie, played by Rod Digga. His lawyer, Ben Moss, explains the home. Dennis is snuck in as a repairman. The family explores the house, filled with transparent walls inscribed with Latin spells. As Moss tries to steal some money, he breaks a wall and is soon killed. One of the ghosts is released, and all of them represent something that Arthur sought to harness, the Black Zodiac. At the same time, Kalina Ordzizia, played by Embeth Davids, is snuck in to free the ghosts, one of whom, the withered lover, is Arthur's late wife Jean, played by Katherine Anderson. The house is a machine powered by these ghosts, allowing the owner to see the past, present, and future. However, 13th ghost, must be created, one whose sacrifice is motivated by true love. That can shut the house down. Arthur believes that he must become this ghost, sacrifice his life to save his children. The truth is the 13th ghost will actually activate the machine and Cyrus is alive. He and Cleaner are lovers and plan to use the home and the Ocularius Infernum to become incredibly rich. The Black Zodiac, the powers of the machine, are the firstborn son. A boy named Billy, who loves cowboys and Indians, he was killed by an arrow shot at his head by one of his friends. The torso is gambler Jimmy Gambino, killed by gangsters wrapped in plastic, dumped in the ocean. The bound woman is Susan, the cheerleader who cheated on her quarterback boyfriend at prom night and got strangled. The withered lover is Arthur's wife, Jean, who died in a house fire. The torn prince is Royce Clayton, a baseball player who died in a drag race. The angry prince is Dana, who constantly tried to improve her looks through plastic surgery. She decided to operate on her own face and then killed herself. She's the ghost that emerges and kills Moss. The pilgrimess is Isabel Smith, a victim of the Salem witch trials. Harold and Margaret Shelburne are the great child and the dire mother. Margaret was a circus dwarf, assaulted by the tall man. Harold was the result after she was killed. He murdered most of the sideshow. The hammer is George Markley, a black blacksmith whose family was killed when he was accused of stealing from a white man. He took his hammer and killed them before he was caught and killed by having railroad spikes hammered into his body. The jackal is Ryan Coon, predator who died in a sanitarium fire. The juggernaut is Horace Mahoney, a serial killer, the most dangerous of all the ghosts. Again, Arthur was supposed to become the 13th ghost, the broken heart, an activated machine designed by the devil and powered by the dead. Who will the final ghost be? This is an exciting movie. I actually really like it. It's got some really cool backstory. It feels like I'd love to have a series, which they're planning, to delve deeper into all the stories of the ghosts. It's directed by Stephen Beck, who also did Ghost Ship, which the first 10 minutes are awesome. Written by Neil Marshall Stevens and Richard Diovidio. It deserved a better reception than initially received. If we only knew how much worse horror movies would get, maybe we would have appreciated it more at the time. Let's go to Mexico. What do you say? The incredible Professor Zovek is next. Francis Xavier Chapa del Bosque suffered from polio, and according to an article on Vulture, he was experimented upon by his uncle. This sounds like Doc Savage, but it's not. However, he claimed that his own will returned his ability to walk. After years of training, he began performing as Agent X1. Then as Professor Zovek, he could pull cars with his teeth, and he broke the world record for sit-ups. He came out with an army of hooded women and said, "I need vibrations," which allowed him to kiss many of the women before stunts like exploding out of a straitjacket, lifting cars with people inside them, and escaping confinement in chains. Being a TV star led to movies, starting with this film directed by Rene Cardona, a unique blend of Zovek stunts and lucha movies. That's fascinating. His next and final film was Blue Demon y Zovek en la Invasion de los Muertos, where he fought alongside Blue Demon, adding a unique cultural twist to this film. Yet during filming, Zovek was also still performing for the public, being lowered from a helicopter down on the ground. But an accident caused the pilot to pull a stick upward, throwing Zovek 200 feet directly into the ground. He died surrounded by his wife and 4 children. There were rumors, which are shown in the movie Roma, in which Zovek was played by Latin Lover, the luchador, that he was in cahoots with the government, training right-wing paramilitary groups. As such, people whispered that the pilot had killed the performer as a political act of assassination. The pilot first part always maintained that Zovek was already off the rope when he levitated and turned. But about the movie, the film's plot revolves around a plane carrying 26 renowned scientists that explodes, leaving only 25 bodies. Zovek is a renowned figure in the film, kind of like a lucha hero, called in to investigate his unique abilities and fearless nature, leading him to believe the missing person is the killer. This takes him to the island of Dr. Leonard Druso, whose mind control and human-animal experiments are taking place. It's like an island of Dr. Moreau, but an island of Dr. Leonardo Druso, setting the stage for a thrilling and action-packed adventure. Did I write the back of the box? I think I did. This is written by Shana Ureta. This film asks you to stay patient for the first 30 minutes. It crawls. But soon we're on an island filled with cannibal little people, martial arts battles. Zurich SWAT outfits an evil masked men with whips. Zurich had some powers. He could swim for 8 hours non-stop, skip rope for 9 hours. I couldn't do 9 seconds. Drive motorcycles blindfolded, let cars drive over him. In a one-insane stunt, he was put in a straitjacket, chained up and put in a burning Egyptian coffin. Here he shows off his mental powers in several stunts, like a lucha movie without lucha. Zovek, however, ahead of the curve. He was doing martial arts way back in 1972, not something that people were really thinking about yet. The movie was really pulling out all the stops to make Zovek a star. His sidekick is Germain Valadez, who is Tintin, who played the same roles in the Shinnok movies. And we have Terry Velazquez and Nubia Marti, who are both in Santa films. A little something for daddy, or as they say in Mexico, algo para papi. I love what Zovek could have been. Wish I'd been able to make more movies. His potential as a movie star, his awesome costumes, The Weird Monsters, there's a woman with an exposed brain, and the look and feel I love from Mexican cinema at this time and form. This movie is magical. More people need to check out El Incredible Professor Zobek. I wish I could go to his college. Witches and Warlocks. Oh, man. Let's start off with Adam coming back for Midnight Offerings.
It's happening again, Daddy.
The most popular girl in school is a real witch. Midnight Offerings, coming up next. The October movies, Be Afraid.
Hey Adam, Burt Reynolds here, coming to you from the best part of heaven to tell you all about Melissa Sue Anderson. Did you know that her acting debut was at My Dinner Theater in Jupiter, Florida, and Neil Simon's The Gingerbread Lady? Yes, sir, for sure. Anyways, here's what Adam wrote. For some reason, people keep talking to me lately about Little House on the Prairie. I'm not sure why exactly. I am familiar with the show. It was not must-see TV for me growing up. Thanks to my mother, I was much more into primetime soap operas like Dallas and Dynasty. The trials and tribulations of the Ingalls family surely could not compare to comings and goings of the Ewings or the Carringtons. But I have watched more LHOTP in the last year or so, and boy howdy does that show get unhinged in those later years. Albert Ingalls gets addicted to morphine. He also starts a fire that results in the death of a baby. In the infamous Sylvia episode, a teenager gets raped by a guy in a clown mask. The citizens even blow up Walnut Grove rather than let the land fall into some venture capitalist's hands. Whenever anyone talks about LHOTP and how they don't make shows like they used to, I cannot disagree. But they are talking about wholesomeness, an aspect that did not exactly run through that show. In contrast, I've never seen an episode of The Waltons. I would be willing to watch it, though. It seems like maybe this show is the one people should reference when talking about a show you could watch with the entire family. I'll have to check it out and report back. Now, if there was a competition between the two shows, perhaps it reached full throat in 1981, when the made-for-television movie Midnight Offerings debuted on ABC. Neutral ground, I guess. In this movie, we are treated to Melissa Sue Anderson, Mary Ingalls, versus Mary Beth McDonough, Aaron Walton, in a supernatural battle over the high school quarterback? This film is not going to pass the Bechdel test, that's for sure. Anderson plays Vivian Sutherland, the most popular girl in school. She also happens to be a witch, the old seventh daughter of a seventh daughter trope, who is not afraid to kill in order for those around her to succeed. Nobody knows her secret, although the aforementioned quarterback/boyfriend David, Patrick Cassidy, is beginning to have his suspicions. When new girl in town Robin Prentice, McDonough, shows up, Vivian is ready to quickly dispose of her. But Robin is also the seventh daughter of a seventh daughter, and she has powers she could not explain. Can Mrs. Emily Moore, Marion Ross, help Robin harness the magic inside of her before Vivian reaches the height of her witchcraft? There is definitely a lot to like about Midnight Offerings. Melissa Sue Anderson is having a ball playing against type, and I love a magic battle. This one has an unexpected ending that would make any Hammer film proud. If you know, you know. Made-for-TV movies has been a bit of a running theme through my picks this year. I just cannot get enough. Talk about they don't make things like they used to.
My pick was Queen of Black Magic. From 1981, Kohar accuses Murney, who's Susanna, the Queen of Black Magic, who he dated before his marriage, and claims she ruined his ceremony by creating rain and convincing his bride that her husband has become a skeleton of the crime of witchcraft. The village rises up, burns her house down, and throws her off a cliff, only for her to be saved by an old man and taught to become the Queen of Black Magic. Imagine the surprise of those villagers when she walks among them again alive despite all they've done. So then she's sending swarms of bees, commanding worms to eat people's faces, and stealing babies straight out of their cribs. That isn't enough. She enchants someone into clawing off their own head, which then flies around the room biting people. How do you become the Queen of Black Magic? Well, you get naked and you do backflips under the full moon. Also, Murney is real into her brother. Like, too much into her brother. This is everything I wanted to be, and proves why Susanna was such a force in Indonesian horror. I've seen some folks complain about the cheap effects. Get off your high horse. There are horrible people in this movie who need to have acid eggs thrown in their faces. Maybe they don't have the big bucks that you do to make it look right, but they're going to try as hard as they can. We're on day 28, and that brings us to our in memoriam feature, and mine was Samantha Eggar, and I think the ghost of Samantha Eggar should read to you about Siegfried and Roy, Masters of the Impossible from 1996.
Oh, thanks, Samuel. Have you seen the hand? The hand has been following me still. Sam says, I think I've written about every Samantha Eggar movie and perhaps a director, and I had conspired to kidnap her and Susan George to make our dream double sequel to Demonoid and Tintorera. I hope she won't mind that I remember her by watching this cartoon, devoted to magicians Siegfried and Roy. I'm sorry, Samantha. There are 4 episodes of Siegfried and Roy, Masters of the Impossible, and I wish there were 4,000. This animated series is a wonderful chance to bring children our important message about discovering the world of magic all around them, Roy once told the Las Vegas Sun. We also want them to discover the magic deep inside all of us. Man, I have been in hysterics since watching this, and all the PR from the 90s is starting my giggles all over again. Like this. Director-producer Ron Myrick says they turn to sources as varied as Norse mythology, sword and sorcery games, and of course, Siegfried and Roy's nightly spectacle at the Mirage. We've opened the door, allowing us to borrow from other periods and places, he says. There are no bounds to this world of Sarmoti. Each character and place has a unique, creative look that's found nowhere else in its kind. There are no limits on what we can create and do. Sadly, that article has one lie. And after the 4-episode miniseries airs, will there be more? This is only the beginning, Siegfried says. It wasn't. Airing on Fox Kids from February 19th to 22nd, 1996, this finds Siegfried as an illusionist and Roy as an animal tamer, travelling with a white tiger named Manticore. Sarmoti has 4 demons released, 3 of which are the personifications of sins, while the 4th is part of Manticore. Roy wishes to make Manticore whole and works with Siegfried, and the duo must learn to get along and save the kingdom. Another lie. Siegfried and Roy didn't do their own voices. Siegfried is Andrew Hawkes, and Roy is Jeff Bennett. Plus, Charlie Adler, the voice of Starscream, is Loki. Jim Cummings and Brad Garrett show up. Garrett knows how to do the cartoon voice of a real person, as he was Hulk Hogan on his cartoon. Rumpelstiltskin plays their sidekick, and oh yes, there's Samantha Eggar. The dupe keeps yelling, "The magic is back!" And Rumpelstiltskin keeps asking when they'll find some women. This may have been the reason I was laughing more than a few times. Maybe that demon part of Manticore was real. At the Mirage on October 3rd, 2003, the cat knocked down Roy and dragged him off stage as he had a stroke either before or after the attack. The animal trainer claimed that the cat was trying to help him. It helped him to a severed spine, blood loss and paralysis on the left side of his body. After performing one more time on 2020, they retired on April 23rd, 2010. Manticore died 4 years later. I learned a few things researching this. While Siegfried and Roy were a couple, they were also devout Catholics and had a chapel in their home. Also, the name of the planet, Sarmoti, means Siegfried and Roy, Masters of the Impossible. Despite Roy being injured, they had a computer-animated TV show, Father of the Pride, about one of the lions. In a magical world, there would have been action figures of this show. It's kind of like He-Man, but way less gay. Okay, I'm sorry. I tried really hard not to make any jokes in this entire article, so please give me some grace for that one.
R.I.P. Samantha. All jokes aside, I'm obsessed with Samantha Eggar. Anyway, Hammer British on October 29th. That brings us to Fear in the Night.
A young bride packing for her honeymoon. What happens to her now may be all in the mind, a figment of her imagination. Or she may be in very real danger. Either way, there will be madness and murder and fear in the night.
Mrs. Beamish tells me you haven't been very well lately. You had a nervous breakdown.
Well, that was about 6 months ago.
These things take a long time to sort out.
He was waiting for me, Bob, like he was before.
Fetch the doctor.
No, God, please. Bob, I was attacked. I was. You don't believe me, do you?
I believe you think you were attacked.
A honeymoon at a quiet school in the country. A school without pupils. Just deserted halls, empty rooms, and fear in the night.
Sorry if I frightened you.
Forgive me for being personal, but you do seem terribly young. I mean, almost like a child bride.
I'm 22.
Oh, well, I'm sure that Robert needs you as much as we need Robert.
Peg? What you doing out of bed?
Oh, I couldn't sleep. It must be the champagne. I keep thinking I can see someone.
Oh, where?
Over there, by the window.
I can't see a thing.
Hello?
You could get your head blown off creeping around like that.
Good evening, Robert. I've been waiting here to welcome you. I hope that gun isn't loaded. If it went off, it would waken the boys.
Why not come down into the hall? We can talk things over quietly.
But I am in the hall.
Which played on with Straight On Till Morning in the UK and Demons of the Mind in the US. This Hammer film finds Peggy, played by Judy Geeson, moving in with her husband Robert, Ralph Bates, to work at a school in the countryside. The night before they leave, she's attacked by a man with a fake arm, which sends her into hysterics. Robert's new boss, Michael Carmichael, is played by Peter Cushing. Married to Molly, Joan Collins 100% love this movie. After their first meeting, Peggy is again attacked by the one-armed man. The next night, she notices Robert only has one arm. Whenever he comes at her, she shoots at him with a shotgun. It doesn't stop him. She faints, only for her husband to reveal he has no job at the school. He's treating Robert, who plays recordings of the old students, to remember what it was like before a fire destroyed the school. The twist start here is Robert and Molly are really having an affair, and he only married Peggy to drive her insane and make her kill Michael. Michael, however, a step ahead, using the intercom of the school to taunt them, even tying up his wife and coaxing Robert into killing her. Thinking it's him, Peggy survives thanks to the one-armed man she believes is their enemy. Her husband's body hangs from her noose as choir music plays from the empty school. Directed by Jimmy Sangster, who wrote the script of Michael Sison. It's the kind of cold, dreary British murder mystery film I love. Not as stylish as Jolly, but it comes from the same place. I have a couple people that participated in the 80s. Up first, Society.
For Bill Whitney,
I've never been paranoid.
fear plays a large part in family life.
I feel like something's gonna happen. And if I scratch the surface, there'll be something terrible underneath.
He's afraid his sister
Could you zip me up, Billy?
is not what she seems.
God, Bill, what's the matter with you?
He thinks his friends are out to get him.
You make waves, Whitney, you're gonna drown. People are what they are. Now you have to learn to accept that.
He's about to find out the truth.
Why are you guys doing this to me, huh? What, you've been living with these people all your life and you didn't know anything about this?
Is far worse than he could ever imagine.
If you don't follow the rules, Billy, bad things happen.
Didn't you know, Billy boy? The rich have always sucked off low-class scum like you.
Uh-oh, Billy.
Clarissa? Don't be so intense.
Now, some people make the rules and some people follow the rules. It's a question of what you're born to.
You never were one of us.
You know, you really deserve what's going to happen to you.
I don't think so. Wait.
Can't you see they're setting you up for something?
You know how I hate to give you drugs.
You're officially dead.
Don't go home, Billy.
No.
Bill Whitney is about to become one.
Showtime, Billy!
With society.
Who are you? Let me give you a hand, Bill.
In Beverly Hills, what you fear is only the beginning.
Anything for society.
And writing about society is my friend Parker Simpson. So, Parker, who shall speak for you?
John Carradine here, having a little drink while I see all these ghosts hovering around Sam's podcast microphone. As the bard wrote, "What may this mean? That thou, dead corse, again in complete steel, revisitst thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous, and we, fools of nature, so hardly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls. Say, why is this?" Now on to Parker's movie. Note, I wrote this in early September. This has been edited accordingly to make it seem like I watched it recently. It's not every day you see a mass walk out of a film over one scene, or seeing those who stay have their jaws permanently agape, or those same people become increasingly sweaty and anxiety-ridden as time passes. It's rather funny, really. I would highly recommend the experience. This is an accurate summary of my local drive-in screening of Society, which they decided to double bill with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I don't know how they keep getting copies of cult horror films to show in small-town America, but I respect it and will keep forking over my money to them. You should too. Seriously, last weekend they screened Lamberto Bava's Demons with Return of the Living Dead, and next week is a 2-night event including Girls' Night Out, Madman, Reanimator, Spider Baby, and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. What is in the water here? Society is a film known more for its ending. I will try to not spoil too much than what precedes it. Its timely imagery of the rich literally eating the poor has aged just as well as the special effects Brian Usna got the plot from. Despite the continual citing of his and collaborator Stuart Gordon's influence in recent efforts, see The Substance, his directorial career is rather bumpy, ranging from extremely amusing, Faust, Love of the Damned, to awful, beyond Reanimator. This is his high point. If you ask me, he hit it out of the park with Society, and should have done more with social commentaries, instead of basing his career on getting ideas from Screaming Mad George. Then again, I shouldn't curse the man who holds the rights to my favorite franchise. What makes this stand out from the rest of Usna's filmography is not the melding of naked bodies and human beings turned inside out. It's the elaborate pacing and making the most of its surroundings. By the time the late 80s rolled around, the popular landscape was more interested in making money than engaging the general public. Culture had shifted away from the organic roots of the 60s and 70s, being redirected to malls and television. It may have been a sign of economic prosperity, but it signaled a cultural downfall we are still feeling the effects of. Setting society in the wealthy area of Beverly Hills only amplifies this bubble we often see in films of the time. Gone are the seedy streets of the inner city. In come the gentrified suburbs. However, in the spirit of Blue Velvet, there must be something lying underneath the glimmery surface. Enter the Whitney family, composed of parents Nan and Jim, daughter Jenny, and son Bill. Bill is the black sheep. There is clearly a rift between him and the rest of the family. He knows something is wrong, but he can't put his finger on it. It's only when his friend and sister's ex bug the family's car that he finds out about Jenny's coming out party, something his parents also did, and which features a murderous orgy. Not the sort of thing you want to hear anyone participating in, let alone your immediate family. Only from there does the rift continue to grow, culminating in the now infamous shunting sequence. What could be taken as cheesy teenage angst turns into a genuine feeling of paranoia. While Bill is never really part of his family, he suspects he was adopted. He's never really able to escape them. He finds their influence extends to the furthest corners of Beverly Hills, as seemingly everyone within a 50-mile radius plots against him. It all culminates in a feast of bodies merging into one another as liquor, and honey, pours over a sickly orange lighting, a visual you will never really forget. Films primarily based on special effects don't always work, and while they don't get to shine until the final 20 minutes, society may be the one exception. I could write on and on about this, truly, but it is something you must witness with your own two eyes, an experience you will never forget, no matter how or where you watch it. I cannot give this a higher possible recommendation. Just make yourself a nice cup of tea and see it. This is my last piece for the month. Thank you to Sam for letting me write for the site, and to anyone who has been reading both my pieces and any of the other contributors' pieces.
The time is coming.
I can't wait. 2 months to go.
The signs are beginning.
Found this. It's incredible.
The seals are breaking. The day is approaching.
Hello.
Hi.
The mystery is unfolding.
I need to know what this says. I need to know what language it is.
It's about the apocalypse.
Your baby's due in February, the 29th.
How'd you know that?
There's a whole chain of signs, like a countdown. The Bible's filled with them.
One of the signs has to be stopped.
How, Mrs. Quinn, do you know how? It's time for you to know, Abby.
Stay away!
There's nothing you can do. You can't stop it.
Demi Moore in The Seventh Sign.
Oh, hi, Sam. Carolyn DeFonseca here. Adam wrote about the seventh sign, and I'm so impressed that I've decided to read his words. The characters of the Bible have been a fount of inspiration for horror movies since the days of silent film. Many of these films focus on the exploits of demons and the devil, supernatural beings out to possess, corrupt, and destroy. The seventh sign takes a different approach, turning to the back of the book to see how God's judgment might be poured out onto the earth. If the title had not already been taken by Ingmar Bergman, perhaps The Seventh Seal might have been a more appropriate title. A mysterious man named David, Jürgen Prochnow, is globe-trotting, breaking the seal on various parchments. With each break, another disaster occurs, from the fish in the ocean in Haiti dying to the discovery of a frozen desert in the Middle East. Eventually, David finds his way to Abby, Demi Moore, a pregnant woman who is due to give birth on Leap Day. Abby's lawyer husband Russell, Michael Bean, is busy trying to get a young man with Down syndrome clemency from the gas chamber for killing his parents, who were also brother and sister. A strange B story that eventually does become more important in the final act. David rents a room above the garage and tells the couple a story over dinner involving sparrows and their song. According to David, all souls are stored in a place called the guff. As a soul comes to inhabit the body of a newborn baby, the sparrow sings its song. While the story sounds charming on the surface, Abby soon finds herself face to face with the realization that David is actually the second coming of Jesus Christ. And the guff is all out of souls, starting with her baby. God is ready to judge the world, and only Abby can stop it. The seventh sign takes an interesting approach to its storytelling by melding Jewish folklore with the New Testament. The guff is not mentioned in the Bible, but it is mentioned in the Jewish text, the Talmud, which is sort of an interpretation by rabbis of the Torah, the oral history of the Jewish people that also incorporates the first 5 books of the Bible. Confused yet? If nothing else, it was a bold move by the makers of the seventh sign to take Jewish folklore and apply it to the apocalypse. In comparison to horror films that tap into Christianity for inspiration, there have not been too many films inspired by Jewish folklore. Perhaps the most famous being from Jewish folklore featured in films is the golem, a protector made from clay who comes to life to save and serve the Jewish people. Another figure in Jewish folklore is the Dybbuk, a spirit who clings to its host, possessing that person, causing mental anguish. One recent film that explores a Dybbuk is Demon, 2015, a Polish film featured in the All the Haunts Be Ours, Volume 2 set from Severin Films. Also featuring a Dybbuk was The Unborn, a film from 2009 starring Gary Oldman as a rabbi who is consulted to get rid of the spirit. Oh, how I love all of the different forms of folk horror. I learn so much about different cultures from these stories, even if I do not care for the film itself sometimes. But fortunately, I really enjoyed The Seventh Sign, more than others it seems, currently only a 2.7-star rating on Letterboxd. It is a film that I never got around to watching for whatever reason, perhaps due to the lack of champions for the film. But I found it to be very thought-provoking. Demi Moore in the lead role helps for sure. And although the film seems too scared to go for an unhinged ending it could have, there is some comfort in thinking that the prayers and actions of one woman could change God's mind, a consistent thread throughout the Bible. I watched this one as God intended, on a VHS cassette tape I bought from Goodwill years ago, but before now never cracked the seal, so to speak. So what movie is Sam bringing us? Porno. The Beast in Space. Ugh.
Oh, yes. Italy are my favorite. La Bestia Nello Spanzio earns the Beast in Space title because it features Sir Belaine, a star of The Beast, also part of the movie Immoral Tales, which it was part of. As sort of reminiscent of Beauty and the Beast, Roger Vadim saw Sir Belaine as the next Bardot, a vision that eventually led us to Papaya, love goddess of the cannibals. Tragically, she passed away from AIDS in 1999. Captain Larry, played by Vasil Karras, may live in the future, but there are still bars and still women to pick up in bars like Sandra, played by Lane. He steals her from another man, just as a vial he also took ends up containing antellium, a very important MacGuffin that can be used to make bombs. Larry gets a crew and heads off to Oregon, where this element is from, to get as much of it as he can. The man that Larry fought at the bar, Juan, is on his way to that planet and sends a giant robot, the one in Sandra's dreams, after them. And the planet is run by a computer called Zocor, which makes everyone have sex because this is an Italian movie. There are lightsabers, space horses having space horse sex, dudes in gold potty paint.
Carolyn here. I want you to hear how Sam says body paint, potty paint. Listen again, because he did 2 takes.
Dudes in gold potty paint.
That's right. Potty paint. Oh, Sam, slow down. And if you're mad, let me quote my character Gianna Brezzi in Profundo Russo. Come on, Tarzan. Why don't you try me at some arm wrestling? Then we'll see who's weaker.
The space satyr penis, and all the costumes and effects from Alfonso Brescia's other space films. Cosmos, War of the Planets, Planet of the Stars, War of the Planets, and Star Odyssey. But this is more the black hole than Star Wars. I'm not just saying that because there's a version of it with inserts. Brescia also went by the name Al Bradley, the name he used to make the wild Ator remix film Iron Warrior, the Richard Roundtree starring Miami Cops, David Hess starring Jawa, Homicidio a Lucy Blue, Killer Caliber 32, If One Is Born a Swine, Naked Girl Murdered in the Park, Super Stooges versus the Wonder Woman, and so many more. I'm just shocked that somehow he went from George Lucas ripoffs to suddenly making a porn George Lucas ripoff. Which, it's Italy. Whatever sells. Up next, we have Viewer's Choice. Those are the two last movies. Up first in Viewer's Choice, Adam. Thanks, Adam, for rating so much stuff. I just got to tell you, Adam has been amazing. He wrote about one of my favorite movies, I'm Madman, from 1989.
They say that if you want to escape reality, all you really have to do is pick up a good book.
Why don't we just take it from the top, okay?
It all started with the book. One minute I was reading about him, and the next minute he was standing right next to me.
But when the escape becomes an obsession,
I'm having to do this crap.
I can't stop.
it is the return to reality that becomes the challenge.
Why would anybody do such a thing?
Because he thinks that it will please me.
Lovely. What is happening to you?
Damn it, Richard, listen to me. I'm telling you, there's going to be another killing tonight.
You can't stake out every building in the city based on some cryptic passage from a 30-year-old novel.
Going down.
Just read the book, Richard, please.
You will love me.
I, Madman. Read any good books lately?
So without further ado,
Sam, Carolyn again. This is Adam's last review. Adam, do you know anything about witches? We've come to the final page in the last chapter of Horror Gives Back. Before I close the book on another successful journey through horror films I've watched for the first time, I've saved one of the best for last. Tibor Takic's I, Madman. By 1989, horror had pretty much run its course at the box office. Jason may have been taking Manhattan, but he grossed less than $15 million. Freddy didn't fare much better with The Dream Child, garnering about $22 million. The top-grossing horror film of 1989? Pet Sematary, with $57 million, slightly less than that Al Pacino film, Sea of Love. Audiences were much more interested in spending money on action and family-oriented movies than horror. Perhaps the true horror was yet to come in the next decade. As far as I, Madman's box office, it is non-existent. After a regional release, the film was dumped on home video, as so many films were in those days. Eventually, it has taken on a bit of a cult following, it seems. With one eye looking in the past and one eye looking forward, I, Madman, combines the 1950s nostalgia so many films hoped to capture and pulled it into the turn of the decade. The film follows Virginia, Jenny Wright, an aspiring actress who works at a local bookstore. She has come across an old book entitled Much of Madness, More of Sin, written by someone named Malcolm Brand. The main character of this novel forms an obsession around an actress named Anna. She does not care for his face, so he decides to just cut off all of his features. His nose, his ears, his lips, his scalp. You know, as one does when one is rejected by a woman. Unable to find Brand's follow-up novel, I, Madman, Virginia is dejected, but amazingly, she finds the book at the doorstep to her apartment. In this novel, the character is back, harvesting those body parts he had removed from unsuspecting victims in order to graft them onto his own body. But suddenly, fiction becomes reality as Virginia begins witnessing murders and is haunted by the man from the novel. Could the events have truly leapt from the page? Or is Virginia experiencing some sort of psychotic break? The fantastical ending perhaps poses more questions than answers. Madman, does a fantastic job of combining two worlds, the seediness of a 50s pulp novel, complete with a film noir feel, and a bit of a neo-noir, as Virginia's boyfriend, Richard, Clayton Rohner, is a detective on the case, torn between solving the crime and believing his girlfriend. Surprisingly, he does not totally dismiss Virginia's claims. Add a touch of Rear Window, stop-motion effects that you never see anymore, and some of the best production design of any film in the late 80s, and a cult classic is born. I find myself guilty of saying cliches like, they just don't make films like this anymore. Truth is, they never made films like Madman. It's almost singular in its originality. Filmmakers are not allowed to take these chances anymore, unfortunately. Thus, I do not find modern horror to be that interesting. Like Virginia, I find myself scouring the past for content that lights up my imagination. Luckily, I'm not sure that I will ever hit bottom, as I keep finding fantastic films year after year. I can probably start making my Horror Gives Back list for next year. Note to self, add The Gate to films to try to squeeze into a category. I suddenly need more Tibor Tkach in my life.
My last review is for Black-Eyed Susan, which came out in 2024.
State-of-the-art sex dolls are not only socially acceptable nowadays, but also highly priced luxury items.
All right, not the conversation I was expecting.
Not everyone buys a doll like this for sex. Some people want companionship. That's why we're developing a sex doll that can take and reacts to physical abuse.
Have you ever hit a person to satisfy your own pleasure?
Not intentionally, no.
I want you to punch me now. Do you think you'll be comfortable hitting a device that looks like a human?
I don't honestly know.
But you're hoping so.
Yes.
Because?
I need the work.
Can't find the words, little man?
Susan has made me aware of some things that I found surprising.
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
The ultimate goal of this project.
She only has eyes for you, not Derek.
Please continue to hit me if it satisfies you.
I love Scooter McCrae's movies, 16 Tongues, Shatter Dead, St. Frankenstein. But like any band I adore, or director and writer in this case, I'm always worried when a new creation comes out from them. If I'm a true believer of the artist, which I am of McCrae's work, I own all his script books and all his Blu-rays. I've watched everything he's done multiple times, but it makes me worry. Am I going to enjoy this movie when I feel so close to the other ones? And while Black-Eyed Susan may not be my favorite of his films, that's not a bad review. It's still better and more thought-provoking than anything else I've seen in a while. Derek is going through a rough divorce, barely getting by as a rideshare driver. Then he gets a strange offer from a friend who's been creating an AI sex bot, one that can take the abuse that he believes men want to deliver to women. He thinks Derek, thanks to his bad marriage, alcoholism, and violent nature, will be the perfect one to put the robot, called Black-Eyed Susan by its tech team, through its paces. We've already seen the robot be abused by someone else, a man who took his own life earlier in the film. She is the utter definition of a lack of agency. She can't walk. Her dreams are only of her owner. All she wants to do is have sex. Even when she asks for things, it's what she thinks the owner wants. In short, she's the male gaze given form, but one that can't walk and whose every moment is devoted to male pleasure, especially if that involves assault. She's ready to bleed from several areas, not just simulate female arousal. What I disliked about this movie is it kind of thinks that BDSM sex is the same as abuse. Degradation when consensual is a part of a two partners contract and maybe something they both enjoy. This suggests that all men, even those who try to be moral, only have the capacity to inflict pain. Your mileage may vary. What I did enjoy, 16mm filming, of course, Fabio Frizzi's soundtrack. There's so much of this idea. I wanted more. I want to learn and see more of the actual relationship between Derek and Susan. By the time the film gets going, it already feels like it's already over. Thalker is also incredible in this who plays Susan. Like how for being the perfect male sex object, she has so many things that many men might be turned off by: body hair, an androgynous look, and edge. She feels almost like an alien. I also enjoyed how Amanda, one of the creators, wants to know how their sessions are going. Derek seemingly is courting Susan, who keeps mentioning sex at every opportunity. It's as if she makes him chaste by comparison. For all the big questions this film raises, it feels again like it ends too soon and too cleanly. Of course, the people who make the robots have further darker plans, but is that any reason for Derek to give in to his rage? Feels like we fast-forwarded and lost the plot a little bit. That said, I'm not the filmmaker. I'd be interested to see why Scooter went in this direction. In Anton LaVey's Pentagonal Revisionism, the 5-point program, he said that Satanism should be part of the significant change in the world involving the development and production of artificial human companions. He wrote, the forbidden industry, an economic godsend, will allow everyone power over someone else. Polite, sophisticated, technologically feasible slavery in the most profitable industry since TV and the computer. In the Rolling Stone article, Sympathy for the Devil, this appears. On the way, LaVey talked about his androids, his favorite hobby horse. He spent years working on his android prototypes as mannequins, preparing for the day when the science of robotics will enable industry to begin producing artificial human companions. The forbidden industry, he called it. Polite, sophisticated, technological feasible slavery. And most of his dolls are store mannequins with their faces sawn off, replaced by latex impressions of his friends' faces. I sculpted one entirely out of polyurethane foam, LaVey said as we edged across the bridge through the fog. I inhaled all those fumes, trying to create a realistic woman with actual sex parts. I put so much of my personal fetishistic desire in it that I became like Pygmalion, and I kept expecting her to show up on my doorstep. Do you have sex with your dolls? I asked. Pause. I tried to, he said. It was going to be my great test run. Just as I was entering her, the damn room started shaking. An earthquake hit. I figured it was God's way of telling me something, so I ceased, he laughed. My activities at the moment. LaVey suddenly turned solemn, and he said, when I say God, you know, it's just a figure of speech. This feels like it only could scratch the surface again of what it could be with a creator so talented. I love, again, as I said, everything Scooter's done. He claims this is his last movie, since he's getting too old for this, but I would like to see what else he could do. You can get this from Vinegar Syndrome, who produced it. It's definitely worth watching. Well, we got through Unsung Horrors, got through the whole month. Finally, thanks for coming back and listening to this episode. Every October, Unsung Horror is a great podcast. You should listen to it. It does this whole month. It benefits Best Friends, who's working to save the lives of cats and dogs all over America, giving pets second chances and happy homes, something I'm really big on. There's a letterbox list I'll send in here. Thanks to Adam Hursey, Parker Simpson, John Connelly for being part of this. Thanks to Lance and Eric on the show for doing this. Take a listen next year if you'd like to participate. I'd love it. We can have any ghost you'd like read your movies. Thanks for listening to the show. This is Sam. Reach out to me at bnsbutmovies@gmail.com or come to the website at bnsbutmovies. The Ko-fi link to donate is in the links. Please consider donating. If not, if you watch us on YouTube or whatever podcast player that you listen to, put a review in and share it with others that you think might like it.